Well, there has been a great deal of excitement and anticipation over these elections in Mexico, and indeed here in Tijuana, where we are just steps from the US border, many thousands of dual nationality residents from the United States have crossed into Mexico in order to have their say over Mexico's next president. But they certainly aren't the only community here in Tijuana who've wanted to influence the outcome of these elections. It's election day in Mexico, and at the border with the US, the traffic is coming back into the country. This morning, thousands of voters with dual nationality have crossed into Mexico to cast their votes in the presidential race.
Well, I drove all the way from Los Angeles to vote, to make possible a good change for all my people.
Oh yes, I just crossed the border from San Diego to Tijuana to vote.
Tijuana's border with the United States is the busiest international crossing in the Western Hemisphere. And for many dual nationality voters, the forced nature of the cross-border life is their primary reason to vote.
The people from San Diego to be more work, more job, better pays, and better salary. You know, if the people have a better pay, you know, they're not going to cross the border to go to United States. They're going to stay here because they want to, you know, they want to feed their families.
Yet in Tijuana, another group is standing by to have its say in a state where over 33% of America's deportations are conducted. Situated at the US-Mexico border, Tijuana is also a city which is home to a large number of US deportees. They are a community that count themselves among Mexico's most marginalized, and for many of them, it will be their first time voting in an election.
I only lived here in Zona Norte for about 3 months.
Luis Rivera says he wants to see his fellow deportees involved in the democratic process.
Right now, when they see our votes, they see our names and they look up who we are, what we're about, and they can actually see, okay, this is a deportee voting. We took the time to get up and think about our city where we live in to try to make it better. That's where they're going to see that we're actually doing something about it. We're not screaming, we're not starting riots. All we're doing is participating with them to make this vote go through.
As Tijuana has its say in Mexico's future, many of its voters will depend on how the country's next president handles the worsening relationship with its northern neighbor. And for whoever wins the election, it will be here where improving US-Mexico cross-border relations will play out. Well, polls have now closed across most of Mexico, but due to the time difference here in Tijuana, they will remain open for another 2 hours. But according to early exit polls, it does not look like we are going to see much of an upset. It still appears that Andrés Manuel López Obrador, AMLO, who has led throughout the polls throughout this campaign, is still on course for a victory today. But one of the surprising things we have seen today is just how high the voter turnout has been. Very high levels of participation here in Mexico, and that's something that people are putting down to the real inspiration that these elections and choosing Mexico's future president has inspired here in the electorate. But as I mentioned, AMLO is, according to exit polls, still on for a landslide victory here in Mexico.
Following the Mexican election, Alasdair, Baverstock reporting from Tijuana, Mexico. Thank you.